This week on The Breakout, the president sends a shot directly across the bow of the defense industry.
Is that a shipbuilding joke?
Yeah, well, we're also going to talk S&A.
That's true.
Welcome to The Breakout. I'm Mehta.
And I'm Ferran.
So, Lee, the president's mad at the defense industry.
He seems very mad at the defense industry, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been starting to hear some rumors in late December about some sort of action the White House was considering, focused on dividends, stock buybacks, basically saying, defense industry, don't be using our money to enrich yourselves without giving us more for it.
Pour it more into production, more into facilities, that kind of thing.
That seemed to be the idea. We weren't expecting the president, although at this point maybe we should have expected this, to just post something on his social site effectively saying, from this moment forth, everything is going to change.
Yeah, in all cap style, he wants to limit underperforming defense contractors from being able to do stock buybacks and dividends, saying they need to put more into production. And the True Social post, which also capped CEO pay at $5 million, certainly going to be interesting to see how that plays out, was followed up by an executive order.
Right, and so that executive order spelled out in more detail what this actually means. The key thing is, for future contracts going forward, it's going to include some sort of language, we're not sure exactly what that will look like, effectively saying if you're not meeting performance guidelines that we've set, then executive pay is impacted, your ability to do dividend and stock buybacks is impacted. A lot of questions about this. There's some questions about legality. There's a question whether a company will be brave enough to sue or not over this, because obviously that could impact your relationship with the customer.
Sure.
But it's a big deal for the defense industry.
Well, and of course, you would normally say, especially with a Republican president, it's unusual for the government to be stepping into their decisions themselves this way. But the president is saying this is national security.
Yeah, and look, stock buybacks, dividends, this is a common thing among publicly traded companies. The difference the White House is saying is that these are not just any publicly traded companies. These are defense companies that exist fully off of the American taxpayer, and that the taxpayers should be getting more. Now, look, this is an argument that we've heard for a long time.
Yeah, it's not a Trump administration thing. During the Biden administration, Navy Secretary Carlos del Toro was very public about this when it came to big Navy contractors.
Right. The idea is, look, you're using these stock buybacks and you're giving stuff to your shareholders, but you should be putting that into production, particularly around munitions. It seems like is a big focus of this EO. The counterpoint from industry has always been, well, if you want us to put more into production, you got to give us the money and show us there's a real demand signal, because otherwise we're just eating the money with great risk, which is why it kind of feels like this EO is very much a stick that was paired with a carrot.
Yeah, and the carrot is, which would be an unprecedented $1.5 trillion defense budget that Trump said he wants for fiscal year 2027. Obviously, that's just about a 50% increase in the budget, a cool $500 billion, Trump change here.
Yeah, between friends, what does it really come down to? This would obviously, the $1 trillion budget, such as it was, I remember that included reconciliation money, was a record-setting event this year. So of course then the question is, okay, where does this $1.5 trillion come from? Is it from another reconciliation bill? Is it from actual appropriations? Will there be how much chaos in Congress to try to make this happen?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of questions around that number, but to me it felt very much like, okay, we're telling you guys need to be more serious about production. We don't want you wasting your money on dividends. We're going to give you more money, though.
Right.
And
there's a big pot of money you might be getting a hold of.
Right. And put that into making stuff for the American public security.
Right. And that's going to include for ships. And why are we talking about ships?
Well, because this week is also going to be S&A. We're going to talk more about that after the break.
At Leonardo DRS, our agility helps bring the ability to dominate in any scenario, on any platform, helping our warfighters accomplish the mission and get home safely. Leonardo DRS, our agility, your advantage.
All right, Lee, we're back. Let's talk about Surface Navy Association.
Should be interesting this year.
It should be interesting. There's two things that make this particularly interesting. The first is obviously the EO that we just talked about.
Right, industry is going to be at S&A in force.
Right, and we expect we'll be asking everyone for their take on that. I'm not expecting everyone to really wade in, because that's, nobody wants to get caught saying something.
But you never know.
And hopefully as we can get a temperature check on everything.
Could be more important at S&A is a different announcement that was made in December.
Yeah, so this is the Trump-class battleship.
Yeah, a whole new ship.
Yeah, so this is part of the Golden Fleet concept, which is a new idea from the Navy, or at least a new branding of an idea.
Sure, using a lot of maritime drones, kind of looking at a high-tech version of the way to fight a future surface warfare.
High-tech, but also with a throwback of a battleship, which is something that we haven't had for a while. a lot of questions, obviously, about what that's actually going to look like, how it's going to be funded, the timing. But to me, what strikes me about this is, again, the fact they're calling it the Golden Fleet, right? That's a clear sop to Trump. That's a, hey, let's make this, like Golden Dome was, a presidential level focus. And you saw it with Golden Dome. It came out, was announced a couple of weeks before there was a big conference, and everyone had their advertisements ready to go. We can do this.
Big literal golden domes and advertisements, that kind of thing. We expect to see something similar at S&A probably.
Yeah, this is, the surface Navy, the battleship's the surface vessel. So expect everyone's going to be at least saying, oh, we could definitely have a part of that. Don't you worry.
We could also hear news about, which I'm holding my breath for.
Yeah.
Is the Navy going to get a next generation future aircraft, the FA-XX? Probably
not. No, we're not going to.
We don't know. We don't know.
The Pentagon doesn't know.
Pentagon may not know. And the White House?
We'll see.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, if you do see members of the staff of Breaking Defense, make sure to say,
ahoy.
We love it. And make sure you like and subscribe to The Breakout to get it delivered directly to you.
And if you listen to podcasts, you can find us on your favorite podcasting platform and search for The Breakout there.
I'm Aaron Mehta.
And I'm Lee Ferran.
Thank you for watching.